Currently, I'm not gonna move my camera because like it's propped on 2 candles and a Twilight book because I don't have a tripod. But I just wanted to say I'm currently decorating for Christmas. I've got some disco ball ornaments. I have this cute little like Christmas tree figurine that I keep on my desk. Like it's super, super, super cute and Christmassy up in this apartment. Hello everyone, I'm Orange, but I'm coming at you guys with some NaNoWriMo content today. I know I talked a little bit yesterday and the day before because it's November 3rd. I talked about my NaNoWriMo stuff and I filmed it and the lighting was trash. So I'm just gonna do a complete do-over of what I talked about, but probably a condensed version, and also allowing myself to like truly vlog the experience. My chair is so creaky, I'm so sorry. So you might be wondering, what is NaNoWriMo? NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month. National Novel Writing Month is in November each year, and the challenge of NaNoWriMo is to write 50,000 words of a manuscript, maybe not entirely start to finish, because sometimes fiction can be longer than that, but to completely write brand new, fresh 50,000 word stories, ideas, etc. Before November started, I basically kind of not plot mapped, but I jotted down ideas of what I would love to read in a story, how I could write that story, what the characters should be like, and so on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open my document, and then once I find it, there we go, we're just gonna have a little chit chat about it and talk about the overview of the story, what the characters are like, and so on. So if you do the math, I don't know the exact number, but each day, if you were to write up to 50,000 words at the end of the month, and you had to write about the same number of words each day, it's about 1,600 words. If you've written a 1,500 word essay before, you know that it can be absolute hell. Absolute hell. But when it's a subject that you're genuinely interested in and want to like really flesh out, it's not that hard actually. The hardest part about it is just making time. The ideas usually flow and I think it's gonna be fun. My goal is to actually complete NaNoWriMo. I've done NaNoWriMo before. Sometimes NaNoWriMo just pushes you to write as many words as you can, even if you don't hit 50,000. But I completed NaNoWriMo successfully, I believe, my junior year of high school, which was 2017. But my motivations for doing NaNoWriMo, obviously I want to write another book and have multiple manuscripts to pitch to agents just for a better shot at getting published. And I'm really excited about this one because I think I'm writing a narrative that is fresh and original, and I think that it's going to be fun because I'm crafting characters that challenge me a little bit. They're nothing like me. They aren't like people I know, which means I kind of have to do outside research on the kind of types of people these characters are, such as like personality tests and Enneagram research and all sorts of stuff like that. So I guess this is kind of a perfect way to start telling you about the characters of this story. I'm not going to tell you the title just yet. I will say this is classified under Project Venus, which you can find in an Instagram highlight on my page. I will also leave my social media link down below. But as you can tell, Project Venus, our main character, her name is Venus. Her full name is Venus Daragon. To put it simply, if I had to sort her into a Hogwarts house, she would, with flying colors, be a Slytherin. I know I just said I am nothing like these characters. However, I am a Slytherin, a hardcore one. But I'm also equally as like level with Ravenclaw. And I think that's the only part of myself that I put into Venus just for that common ground so that she's not completely a stranger to me. Venus is an interesting character because she's very alluring when she is in like finery. But that means that when she is kind of at her normal self, a little bit more dull, going to work, she can be overlooked. And I think that has a lot to do with she is a middle child. She is actually the middle child out of 3. She has 2 sisters, one older, one younger. In this story, Venus and her sisters are orphans. They've had their parents die for different circumstances, and the book will tell you more about that. Because of that, the oldest sibling kind of takes on the mother figure, which is typically what eldest daughters do, ding, 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 for the baby sibling. Especially because in an orphaned situation, the youngest child often has to grow up the fastest, along with their older siblings, but they have less time to really soak up their true childhood. But that leaves Venus to become almost the father figure. Venus is the one that works super hard. I mean, hard labor, the most physically intensive job. She can tend to be the most grumpy sibling of the group. That's kind of her vibe. However, she's incredibly clever, quite ambitious, and she knows how to hold a grudge. So that's Venus d'Aragon for you, and you'll learn about her sisters later, like I said, but let's talk about her counterpart. Let's talk about him. So obviously when I say him, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, here we go. Love interest, so cute. Obviously, fun fact, there is no love triangle. I'm avoiding the love triangle tropes. Hallelujah. However, this character is not entirely a love interest. When people boil down male characters to love interests, it's just as dehumanizing as when they do it to female characters. And I really wanted to kind of tap into, okay, well, if a man and a woman aren't in love in a narrative, what are they? Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to introduce you to Jericho Morgan. Jericho is a character that I think I've been dwelling on writing for a while. I didn't think that was going to be his name. I definitely had certain attributes though that really stood out in my brain that I wanted to make sure I definitely included. Also, another thing about Jericho that I'm excited to write about, he is a bad person. Genuinely, he is a bad person. He started off morally gray in his backstory, which we'll get into eventually. But in preparation for the person he is when the book starts, he's not a good guy. Like, he's done shady, violent, terrible things. And the beautiful part about Jericho is that he doesn't excuse it. He actually embraces it. He's very self-aware about what kind of a person he is. And because of it, people just naturally bend to him. He's young, he's confident, he's self-aware, and he's gonna get what he wants. Which leads us to the plot of this book. So we have Venus, we have Jericho. They're not lovers? How do they intertwine? I'm so glad you asked. You see, Venus wants to kill Jericho. All right, let's back up. Let's give it some context. So Jericho is a young king. He took the throne about 3 years prior, and he is very negligent and not compassionate whatsoever and spoiled. Whereas Venus is poor and orphaned and bitter, and she is the hard worker of the family, but she definitely takes the brunt of the employment because her two sisters work a job in the nobility district. Venus certainly takes the cake for who has the worst job. She is a topiary, which means that she goes around and she trims hedges to make beautiful designs, or she simply does gardening work and things like that. She has a very jaded worldview, especially because her father died at the hands of Jericho. You see, the thing with this story is we're not in a magical realm, but there's kind of like elements of fantasy in a way, just not magic fantasy. I feel like that needs to be a distinction I put out. Jericho took the throne in his mid to late 20s after the death of his father. His mother had died a couple years before that, and because of how he took over, he's just not a good guy. He's not a good guy, like, at all. But the thing about Jericho is a Ravenclaw. Jericho is very intellectual and calculated. I actually think that he is a Ravenclaw Gryffindor blend, if the Harry Potter terminology helps you understand this character better. Jericho's shtick, however, is that he has very vivid dreams. That is the part of myself that I have placed into Jericho so that we kind of relate to each other. I have very vivid dreams, like violent dreams, vivid dreams. I dream things before they happen, and so I get a lot of deja vu, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I literally dreamed that 4 weeks ago. I remember dreams, they stay with me. it's a little intense. And that's what kind of makes Jericho intense. Jericho has dreams that are so vivid that he becomes paranoid that they're going to come to be. For instance, he can dream of people he's never met, and he will dream up a scenario where they are betraying him or committing a crime. So he will have his royal guardsmen bring those people that he dreams up, which are real people, that's the freaky part, brought to the palace, and he will do away with them, essentially. Our story begins because normally when Jericho dreams of you, you're a dead man. However, the premise of the story is when Jericho dreams one night of Venus, and instead of her doing something violent, she tells him in his dream to come find her. He's extremely intrigued. He doesn't understand like what she's supposed to do, and so he goes and finds her and brings her to the palace. Now, because of what happened to Venus's father, Venus is aware that she is on borrowed time, essentially, or she thinks she is. Jericho doesn't know what to do with her just yet because he hasn't had a dream about a woman in this way. Again, it's not romantic, but he's unsure of why she told him to come find her. And so Venus decides to use this opportunity as a way to kill him in his own palace. Of course, in order to make that successfully happen, she has to take time to understand the palace grounds, the shifts that the guards take, the different service people. She has to understand a lot about his personal setting before she can orchestrate any kind of coup. And so that comes with painfully going along with banter that she and Jericho have to put up with. As long as she's in court, a member of the court, she probably will have to go along with any public outings or trips to see other noblemen or royalty throughout the continent. But the question is, how long does she have to orchestrate this coup? And the second question is he gonna catch her before she can pull it off? It's almost like Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard meets The Great, like the show about Catherine the Great on Hulu right now. Absolutely obsessed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go ahead and get back to writing because I've got a lot of ideas flowing in my little brain up here. I am officially about 4,000 words through, and I will update you. Again, I have 50,000 words by November 30th, and we're 4,000 words through on day 3, so I'm getting excited. I'm gonna let y'all go though. Make sure to subscribe down below to follow my NaNoWriMo journey and to follow along with other videos I make in the future. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. I can't even compute that. Thank you guys so much. I'm gonna get back to writing, and I will see you guys in the next video.